So the purpose of our conference here today really is to talk about these cases that we'll talk about in a moment. But what I wanted to do was I wanted to give you guys some background information so you have some context on how we got here today. So you may not realize this, but just over a year ago, the Department of Justice selected the City of Vallejo to participate in the National Public Safety Partnership Program. We call it PSP. And what PSP has done for us is it has provided us cutting-edge training and technical assistance in addressing violent crimes, specifically related to gun crimes, gang crimes, and drugs. This is in direct alignment with our mayor's vision on creating a task force to address these same problems. So as we build out this program, it is right into, her vision of how we can form this multi-agency team to address these issues. So these are some of the partners in the PSP program that you see here today. But some of the other partners that are not here that I think is worth mentioning is the California Highway Patrol, which has been very helpful, as you guys know, in the past couple of years to help us out. The Sheriff's Office has been very instrumental. Even though we have few staff, we've really leveraged our partnership with the sheriff during mutual aid situations and our district attorney's office as well. From a local perspective, I want to be just very clear. As your police chief, my #1 priority is to reduce violent crime and gun violence. I'm going to do this in 3 ways, in 3 different areas of approach, and PSP and the community will help me along the way. So the first area is earning and maintaining community trust and intervention. The second area is strategic and surgical crime suppression and enforcement. And the third category is using technology and innovation to our benefit. So starting with the first area, earning and maintaining community trust. We know that as a policing agency and every law enforcement entity, you have to have community trust to be successful. That means that we have to work side by side with our community, day in and day out. One of the programs that I wanted to talk about just really briefly was the PSP program that we are developing, and we're calling this program Vallejo Vision. And VISION is an acronym that stands for Violence, Intervention, Support, Improving Our Neighborhoods, VISION. So with PSP, we have received extensive guidance building out this program. It really focuses on providing services and support to the people who need it the most. This program will help us identify candidates that are considered high risk of being involved as a victim of violent crime and gun violence, or potentially as somebody that could be involved in committing these offenses. Our goal is to get them back on track, provide them the resources they need to be successful and a productive member of our community. Another vital part of our community partnership is our iHeart program. iHeart started about, I want to say coming up on a year, I think April of summertime, we rolled out the iHeart program. iHeart stands for Integrated Health and Resource Team. So these are individuals, the iHeart team deals with individuals experiencing mental and behavioral health crises. This program aims to replace the traditional police response to some of these instances. Our team consists of crises worker and a medical professional. They are trained in evidence-based practices and they're trauma informed. So they are the right people to get help to some of these individuals where enforcement or suppression is really not the right course of action. iHeart is part of a larger concept that we have. We call this concept a neighborhood impact team. We used this team this week and last week with the conclusion of some of these operations. What the neighborhood impact team does is essentially they knock on doors. So if there's some sort of police action in the neighborhood, Oftentimes, when the officers leave, the neighborhood doesn't know what's happening. And so we feel that it's vitally important to keep people informed. This reduces fear, and it is essential to our work as we build a team approach to combating crime. So we used iHeart for this fashion. We also use other community volunteers for this. I want to talk about our community partners again. I am very happy to see at the last minute how many partners have shown up today. You guys care. I know you do. Now the public knows you do. Everybody watching this conference knows you do. So what you do, I want to just recognize that you help reduce crime, and you make this progress constitutionally in a manner that treats everybody with dignity and respect, and that's important as well. So at this moment, I'd like for our community partners to stand. If you could, just stand up. Thank you all. Thank you for what you do on a daily basis. Sometimes it doesn't get recognized in a big press conference, but we recognize it, we appreciate it, and we cannot do it without your help. Our second focus area is conducting strategic and surgical enforcement. And this is why we are going to be piloting a POP team. So POP stands for Problem-Orientated Policing. This group of officers will identify problems and resolve these issues, connecting residents to services and also conduct suppression techniques. Their areas could be different areas of concern. It could be a crime problem. It could be anything from violent crime to drug crime to quality of life issues. So it's concerns that are contemporarily affecting our community. We know we can't arrest our way out of these problems and challenges that we face, but we need a surgical and very strategic approach in dealing with suppression and enforcement. This is vital in holding criminal offenders accountable. And then lastly, I just want to talk briefly about technology and innovation. We need to use technology. We need to work smarter. We need to do more with less. This is occurring not only in our agency, but other agencies. In Vallejo, we were early adopters of technology. One example that I will give is our license plate reader program. That has been extremely successful. It has helped us identify and apprehend countless violent offenders. We're building upon this program with our vendor, Flock Safety, and we have recently piloted an auditory detection program, sometimes known as a gunshot detection program. So this program allows our officers to receive real-time alerts to their cars, and so they can respond quicker to give victims aid and to increase apprehension possibilities. To achieve all these areas of focus and success, we must rely on all of our partners, our community partners, our local, state, and federal law enforcement partners, and today's event really underscores that partnership. So again, I wanted to say just very much from the bottom of my heart, thank you all for being here today, and then we will talk more about these cases.
Next, I would like to invite Mayor Source to the podium.
All right. Thank you very much. And I want to thank everyone again, the folks up here and in the audience, for coming here and for your partnership in these critical issues. And I want to thank those that were involved specifically in this operation for undertaking important work and often dangerous work. And on behalf of the community in Vallejo, we truly do appreciate it. As the chief said, this effort speaks to the value of collaboration and interagency partnership, and collaboration particularly when we are dealing with issues of trafficking and gang activity that plague not just Vallejo, but communities throughout the region. On behalf of the entire Vallejo City Council, I want to thank everyone for that partnership. We are unanimously aligned in our vision to prioritize public safety in our community. We held a public safety workshop earlier this month. We have multiple council members who are actively working to identify resources and funding for gun violence intervention programming and interruption programming. And we're going to have city council meetings, special meetings next week to address our amended police oversight ordinance, as well as potential partnership with the Solano County Sheriff's Office. So all that is to say that we are taking this very seriously, and we have sent a clear message that we are prioritizing public safety. And I want to thank my colleagues, J.R. Matulik and Helen Marie Gordon, who are here. They represent North and South Vallejo, respectively, and also our colleagues that weren't able to make it, because we truly are united in this effort. So we have our Vice Mayor, Peter Bergenzer, and our council members, Tanya Letiju, Charles Palmares, and Alex Matias. We have a duty to keep our community safe and to build up law enforcement capacity in Vallejo, and also to do that in a way that aligns with our community's needs and the need to provide culturally responsive services, acknowledge the very real trauma and history in our city. And we are committed to building up our ability to enforce our laws while also staying true to our need to implement reform work and rebuild trust in law enforcement in this city. And again, that is going to come through partnership. I want to highlight not only the interagency collaboration here at levels of local, state, and federal government, but also the partnerships of our elected officials at the county, state, and federal levels. And we have representatives in the room from Supervisor Cassandra James's office, State Senator Christopher Cabaldon, I believe our State Assembly Member Lori Wilson, and Congressman John Garamendi. So in addition to our law enforcement agencies working together, our elected officials are also working together to identify these priorities and identify funding so that we can bring resources to our community. We are committed to building up our ability to enforce our laws, keep everyone safe, because that is our responsibility. And again, to do it in a way that is going to include everyone. I want to send a message to the criminal element that the days of thinking that you can come to Vallejo and do your business with impunity are over. This is the beginning. We are committed to increasing our resources and building on these efforts, and we are ready to hold ourselves accountable just as we are going to be holding offenders accountable. We have a responsibility. Thank you. It is true. We are all accountable together. We have a responsibility to ensure that everyone in our community feels safe, regardless of their background and any demographic characteristic, and we take that incredibly seriously. So thank you again to everyone who was part of this and our community partners. Thank you so much.
Next, I'd like to invite our city manager, Andrew Murray.
Good afternoon, and thank you for coming. My name is Andrew Murray, and I have the privilege of serving as the Vallejo City Manager. As you all know, Vallejo is one of the most diverse cities in the entire state, if not the entire nation. And one of the reasons that Vallejo is such a diverse community is we have welcomed people from all over the country, in fact, all over the world, of all sorts of ethnicities, orientations, and economic conditions to come to our community to make a better life for themselves and pursue their dreams. But unfortunately, in recent years, a very strong criminal element has been preying on Vallejoans. I want to express my appreciation to our partners for working with us and inviting us into the Federal Public Safety Partnerships Program. Through this program, we are going to be collaborating on three main areas. We receive enhanced public safety and law enforcement assistance from our federal partners, and we're going to hear a little bit more about the significant cases and arrests that concluded today as a result of our partnership in that program. We also, as Chief Taw mentioned, receive pretty significant technical assistance and training to help build up our capacity to provide the safe, equitable law enforcement services that you all deserve. So I'm also, as Chief Taw mentioned, very, very grateful to our many community partners that provide violence prevention services day in and day out. As you know, there are many steps in orienting all of our community members towards productive contributions, and that includes starting with prevention services. Policing and suppression of crime is the last resort, really. We want to be providing services further in advance upstream so that we're providing people with the resources that they need to succeed. And our community-based organizations and partners are really the experts in that. So our federal partners bring extra resources and expertise to the police department in the city. Our community-based organizations bring their expertise, and I'm really looking forward to continuing to move forward per the program that Chief Taw described today, Vallejo Visions, to intercede and stop crime before it happens, but also deal very, very seriously with the serious criminals that are in our community. So just want to say those words. I also want to share some appreciation to the governor and the CHP, as Chief Taw mentioned, for their short-term support on various quality of life and criminal activities. And let you know that we're all very invested between the city staff team and our elected officials in helping Vallejo again return to being the spirit of the Bay. So thank you very much.
Next, I would like to invite the acting U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of California, Michelle Beckwith.
Thank you. Again, I'm Michelle Beckwith. I'm the acting U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of California. Solano County is one of the 34 counties that my office covers, and Vallejo is one of the major population centers and is also just a very special city and community, which I think is evidenced by the amazing turnout today. So thank you for being here. So I'm really proud that our office is part of the Public Safety Partnership Program. We call it PSP. It's a competitive application process. Lots of cities apply, and not everybody gets in. So we were really thrilled to hear that Vallejo PD was accepted into the program. It's a 3-year program, and we're in our first year. And I think you can see by the turnout today and the cases that we're going to talk about that it is a worthy investment and one we're very excited to be a part of and continue on with them in the next couple of years. Our partnership with Vallejo, as other folks have mentioned, allows us to leverage federal resources to help fight the violent crime problem in Vallejo, and that's a multi-pronged, multidisciplinary approach which uses evidence and evidence-based techniques and tries to do, like Chief Taw mentioned, surgical precision targeting, as well as supporting the community efforts that are already really robust, as you can see here, but providing additional resources to bolster that community engagement, which is a really important part of the program. And I think, as you mentioned, that's already evidenced, and these 2 operations we're going to talk about today with the neighborhood impact team was already out in the community trying to answer questions and explain the law enforcement activity. So I'm really proud to see that already in place. So there's all that part, and of course the enforcement part, which is the cases that we're going to talk a little bit about today and hopefully answer some questions about. And that's holding people accountable for their violent crime and trying to go after people who are really driving violent crime or making the community more unsafe through their actions. And we have 2 federal investigations that led to arrests last week and more today. The first one you'll hear more about from the ATF SAC, but that targeted a lot of criminal activity going on at the Super 8 motel on Solano Avenue. And there are 4 federal arrests last week of people who were trafficking firearms, selling them to people who aren't allowed to have firearms, and these are all kinds of firearms. Obviously, firearms are deadly, but these included machine guns, and we call them PMFs, personally manufactured firearms, or ghost guns. And those are hard guns to trace, and that's why criminal actors seek those out. So that was a long-term investigation by our ATF partners, and they should be commended for putting a stop to that kind of hub of violent and gang activity happening at the Super 8. The second case, or actually I don't know if it's accurate to say gang, but a group of loosely affiliated people acting together to sell firearms. The second case does involve a gang that's been based in Vallejo since at least the 90s. The Brown Brotherhood gang, that's a Sereno affiliated gang. And that, we call it a takedown, the arrests and search warrants happened today in partnership with the FBI through the Solano County Violent Crimes Task Force, with a huge role played by the Solano County Sheriff's Office. That case involved 5 federal warrants that were executed, 2 state search warrants that were executed, and the investigation was about firearms trafficking and drug trafficking. And they covered locations in Vallejo, of course, Dixon, Fairfield, and Sassoon City. And I just want to point out one surprise that came up in the search warrants that were executed today. One of the locations where they found 12 firearms, a silencer, M80 explosives, 11,000 fentanyl or suspected fentanyl pills, and $100,000 in suspected drug cash was actually at a daycare location, a home that was used for daycare. And I understand that a parent was trying to drop a child off right around the search warrant. So I just offer that to show you that these really are public safety operations. We're focused on really bad actors in the community. And one of the arrestees, I believe, was involved in a shootout Vallejo PD was responding to. And the police officers, their car was shot at into the front cab. You can see the screen and in the steering wheel column. So our information is that person who was arrested today was involved in that as well. So just a number of pills, which I think our FBI SAC will talk about a little bit more total. And the other gang activity I've mentioned just shows the true danger that these folks were causing in the community. And we're committed to keep doing cases like this. And I just want to thank the partners, federal partners, and Chief Ta, and just reiterate that my office is very, very proud to be part of this partnership. And thank you for having us here today.
Our next speaker is the FBI Special Agent in charge of the Sacramento Field Office, Sid Patel.
Thank you very much. My name is Sid Patel. I'm the Special Agent in charge for the Sacramento Field Office. Before I begin, I want to say thank you. I am privileged to be with these men and women and the agencies that they represent, and I'm in awe to see all the community partners stand up and the energy and the positive vibe that I've seen here. So I just want to start with that. Thank you very much. It's a great community out here. It's a privilege to be here. Today's a great day for the Vallejo community and the members of the FBI Solano County Violent Crime Task Force. I'd like to thank the following SWAT teams, because we had various agencies and SWAT teams that were part of this, for their efforts to ensure the safe and swift apprehension of the individuals arrested today as part of this multi-location organized crime drug enforcement task force. We call it OCDEF operations. The FBI Sacramento team, we also have the FBI San Francisco team, we had the Fairfield Police Department, we had Vacaville Police Department, and Vallejo Police Department, all of their SWAT teams. So thank you for your support and help on this. It's a team effort, as you can see. We work together, we work hand in hand. We have a very close partnership here. I thank everyone on stage, the chief, and the community here for allowing that. We also thank the ATF for their continued partnership and the Dixon Police Department for their assistance with search warrants today. In addition to the FBI, the Solano County Violent Crime Task Force includes personnel from Vallejo PD, Vacaville PD, Fairfield PD, Solano County Sheriff's Department, and Solano County District Attorney's Office. All have had an active role in this investigation. So OCDEF cases, they identify, disrupt, and dismantle the highest level drug traffickers, money launderers, gangs, and transnational criminal organizations that threaten the United States. It's a major priority for us. Task forces unite agencies and leverage the unique skills and talents each has to offer to effectively target and disrupt criminal networks. As I mentioned, we have to do this collaboratively as a team. The FBI leverages relationships domestically and abroad to combat the influence and reach of criminal organizations and groups, ensuring a criminal organization is investigated as a whole, not just solely as a local group. When combined with local law enforcement that understands its community, like this one does, Thank you. And has to support their community, as we saw earlier today with everyone standing up in the big crowd here. We can be assured to a safer and brighter future. Today's arrests are a result of hundreds of hours of collaborative investigative effort focused on disrupting and dismantling violent criminal networks that exploit and erode our communities that we serve. The threat the Brown Brotherhood, a Serrano-affiliated criminal street gang, poses is significant. It is a large and very active criminal gang here in Vallejo. The gang is known to be involved in various criminal activities, including murder, robbery, extortion, drug trafficking, firearms trafficking, burglary, stolen vehicles, witness intimidation. I can go on. Over the course of the investigation, task force members collected evidence of alleged large-scale cocaine, methamphetamine, fentanyl, and firearms trafficking. Neighborhood gangs pose the most significant threat to communities across the United States. Every family deserves to live, work, and thrive in a community free of violence, illegal drugs, and other criminal activity. Today's arrests are not the end of our efforts. We will continue to identify, disrupt, and dismantle criminal organizations that threaten the safety and security of our communities. The FBI is dedicated to working with all law enforcement partners to most effectively target all gang violence. And we will continue to seek for tips from you, the public, all of you, to identify those who prey upon your community. We urge you, if you see something, say something. Call 1-800-CALL-FBI. Easy to remember, 1-800-CALL-FBI. Or provide information online at tips.fbi.gov, to help make your community safer. And if you're in immediate danger, of course, not call 911. You've got a great police department here. They'll come to your attention immediately. We all want to hear from you, and we'll protect you and your anonymity if you come to us. Your call can help us ensure a brighter future for the entire community. Never suffer in silence, and do not ignore criminal activity. If you call us, we will do something. Now, I know it was mentioned earlier about what we had captured today and some of the activities today. I will tell you, with the drugs that we had captured, a portion of it was 16 pounds of methamphetamine, a half pound of cocaine, and 100,000 fentanyl pills. And we're continuing to search these matters in our evidence, so that could grow. Right. 21 firearms, 1 silencer, 6 long guns, 15 pistols, and of course we'll answer your question at the end as well. But thank you all. Thank you for your partnerships. God bless.
And next, I'd like to invite the ATF Special Agent in charge of the San Francisco Field Division, Jennifer Cicolani.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Jennifer Cicolani, the Special Agent in charge for San Francisco Field Division with ATF. I did want to echo a little bit of Zach Patel's sentiment in that he and I have been in and out of this division for 20 plus years, and this is across the country the most community engagement I've ever seen, and it's amazing to see, so thank you all for being here. So last week, the Operation 8 investigation was a part of a large-scale collaborative effort to address violent crime in the city of Vallejo. Started in 2024, this multifaceted violence reduction strategy relies on innovative, data-driven strategies to promote public and community safety. Utilizing crime gun intelligence, ATF and the Vallejo Police Department identified a high-crime location saturated with illicit activity involving firearms, narcotics, and other crimes. As a result of our investigative efforts, ATF seized 24 firearms, including 4 machine gun conversion devices. These are illegal devices that convert a semi-automatic handgun or rifle into a fully automatic weapon capable of firing an average of 10 to 20 rounds per second. Chief Ta, PSP, and our FBI partners are faithfully promoting interagency coordination by leveraging our unique federal expertise with dedicated prosecutorial resources. ATF is proud to be a part of this effort to prevent and reduce violent crime, and we will stay focused on the commitment we made to the community of Vallejo. So thank you.
So that concludes our comments, and now we will answer questions. Please raise your hand, and I will call on you one at a time. Please state your name and your news organization before asking your question. Today's news conference focuses on combating violent crime through our partnerships with federal, state, and local law enforcement, along with our community leaders. Please keep your questions focused on today's topic. If you have any off-topic questions, I'm happy to work with you after the news conference to get your answers. First question, ma'am.
Kelsey Thorne with KPIX. I just had a couple of questions about specifics when it comes to how many people were arrested. I know you guys said about the number of drugs and guns, but could you also say how many people and how many locations you went to? Thank you.
It's a good question. We had 4 federal warrants, so 4 individuals there, and then we also had 4 other state warrants. Yeah. So, yeah, total of 8. Yeah, please do. Come on in. We'll just answer your questions together.
So we had a total of 4 federal arrest warrants and a few search warrants as well. And that was from last week's takedown.
And which one is the hotel and which one is the other 4 locations?
So we were the ones ATF with the hotel.
Can you maybe summarize? I mean, there's so much that happened that you guys are just throwing out there, which is great, right? But can you maybe summarize what really went down here? There's several operations, several people arrested. Can you maybe give us the bullet points of what actually happened here?
Yes, so for the Operation 8, that was about a year investigation into an area that we identified through crime gun intelligence. That's things as firearms trafficking indicators. We're talking about NIBIN, which very simply put is like a fingerprint of a gun. So when you shoot a gun, it leaves a mark on the back of the cartridge casing, and we can match that to other crime scenes. And we talk about calls for service. And again, this was in coordination with Vallejo PD. So we did an investigation into people that were in and around that area, and that's where we came to seize those firearms.
Summarize that operation really quick. The arrests were when you arrested how many people and what did you get?
So that arrest was last Thursday morning, the 20th. So it was 4 federal arrests in that, and that was for firearms trafficking and possession of firearms by a prohibited person, and then also possession of machine gun conversion devices.
That was one operation. What's the second one?
Yeah, the second operation was today, and that's where we had various locations out here in Vallejo, Dixon, Fairfield, Susan City, where we had the 4 federal arrests and the 4 state warrants.
Please raise your hand, and we'll get you in order. Mr. Lee.
Quick question on the daycare raid. What day was that raid? Can you confirm a mother and son were arrested, and can you quantify amount and types of drugs and guns that were found?
Sure, it was that was today, and to my understanding, it was 11 pistols, 1 rifle, approximately $100,000 in cash, and 11,000 suspected fentanyl pills. I don't have. I've got the names of the individuals, but I don't have that specific with the mother and son.
I believe the mother was arrested on state charges for child endangerment, and the son was arrested on federal charges in connection with the drug trafficking and firearms trafficking investigation.
And then he was running this operation within the daycare?
That's my understanding. It was her daycare or in-home care of her, where she had child care. I think someone was dropping a child off, is my understanding, right this morning when the operation was happening, and it was her son who was one of the targets of the investigation.
Go ahead, Mr. King.
Her adult son.
Hi, Jeff King, Open Vallejo. Hi, thank you. Jeff King, Open Vallejo. This is for the federal partners. I imagine that there are a number of concerned parents regarding this daycare. There are 2 daycares at that location of which I'm aware. Are you able to identify the daycare?
I am not. I am aware that the state authorities were notified, the licensing bureau for daycares, so I think the appropriate state action is underway, would be my guess.
Go ahead, sir.
Daycare was at Lady C's Child Care, 301 Avian Drive. Is that the correct location?
That's the correct address. I am going to refer you, the affidavits are publicly filed on the docket. We can give you the case numbers for you to look that up on Pacer. I don't want to misspeak, but there are details of the investigation laid out about why that address was on the radar.
So there were 4 locations today, right? Just so I'm clear, there are 4 locations today, and the previous one was a week ago, and that was the street gang at the hotel, or do I have it backwards?
It was individuals at the hotel area. The gang affiliation was this week.
The gang was today?
Yes.
Correct.
So how big a deal is these 2 combined together in terms of taking a bite out of Vallejo crime, if you will?
Well, just to be clear, there are 2 separate operations too, right? They're not, and to clarify again, the gang operation, the one targeting the Serrano-affiliated BBH gang was today. But I think they are impactful, we'll see, but these are people who were injecting illegal and deadly firearms into the community with respect to the ATF investigation. Clearly, I mean, it's dangerous having that amount of fentanyl pills, suspected fentanyl pills and firearms at a daycare location. The danger of that is obvious, but if you go ahead and read the affidavits connected with the complaint in that case, you'll see the level of trafficking of firearms and drugs that are, clearly a threat to the community. 100,000 fentanyl pills, we all know how deadly that is. And, we can't arrest our way out of the problem, but what we do is targeted operations to focus on the most serious crime in a community. Sometimes it's not the most serious offenders necessarily, but they're having an impact. So we are combining our resources to make as big of an impact as we can and send a deterrent message to those who are doing similar things, that we're going to continue to keep doing these kinds of cases.
Go ahead.
This question is just for the police chief. Could you talk just about the impact